All right, guys, today's video is a food plot update. I'm going to show you different progressions of the food plot because it is at various stages, and I have focused most of the summer and fall down here in my best spot, which is section 3. That is entering, it's actually 6.5 years of restoring, but it's on its 7th planting rotation now. So when the spring gets here, that'll be the 7th round for the spring and summer, and it'll be well underway as far as how the soil is going to grow the plants this year. But down there did absolutely fantastic. So now we're moving up to here. This is section 2, and the section is divided by what's left of that stand of sorghum that I did not till down. So that's your dividing line for this section. This is now entering its 5.5 year, which will be the upcoming 6th year for this planting cycle. And I have not used any fertilizer in here this year, trying to test the soil and see if it's where I think it might be this year. The only sign that I've seen up here, which section 3 did the exact same thing, I found a bunch of moss in here. And for those of you that want to be really technical with your food plots and keep track of what's going on in your soil, I recommend doing a soil test once a year, every year. Don't miss it. You want to track your soil, that's one way to do it. But I'm not going to keep spending the money on the soil test when I can use that money for other items in my food plot for right now. Granted, I'm not anti-soil test at all. Highly recommend you do it. I'm just saving some money, and I stared at plants long enough, studied them long enough, and I kind of read things to help me out here, and it saved me a lot of time. But don't rely on that until you get really good at it. But up here is actually doing really well, considering I have been put way behind by drought. And guys, to be honest, this should look a lot better than what it does now. But if you're new to the channel, I had 15 weeks of absolutely no rainfall, and that killed a lot of my food plot establishment time. This place would have been really thick and lush looking if the rain had fallen, and it's not. But now the rain has returned with a vengeance. Matter of fact, I got another 4 to 4.5 inches of rain, and it's flooded the bottom out down there, if you can see it in the camera a little bit. And more rain is coming, snow. There's just going to be storm after storm coming. So that is pretty much the scenario I'm in right now. But if you noticed how things look here, the cereal rye is really taking off. The wheat, the oats, it's all looking good. I've got many species growing, so you can see crimson clover has come up everywhere in here. So there's some of the other species there. You got your cereal rye, some of the wheats are down here, the oats. There's some your brassicas, some turnips in here. There's also plenty of winter peas. Matter of fact, there's a winter pea right there. So all these species I've been hoping and praying would work with no rain is now finally taking off. And as the grains disappear, I am flushing the ground now with a new wave of food that is constantly growing. And you can see where the deer have come in and nipped that off. There's plenty of places that look like that. So I'm very excited to see this much growth without any fertilizer. I see a hint of boron shortage in here, but that's really the only thing that's standing out to me. And years ago, I would have took that in a heartbeat because I was short everything else. Even up here, you can see what's left of what used to be a giant radish. That was a big beefy dude, but he's doing exactly what I want. Now he's breaking down and rotting. and he's going to create some bacteria there to help me out and leave a nutrient deposit. All right, so from this edge up is now section 1. Section 1 is in 3 years of restoring, and again, up here there's a little bit of a difference. I've added fertilizer, a light amount, but I had to put some in here, and you're probably going to notice a few things. So up here we have smaller looking plants. They're not nearly as robust looking right now. It's trying to fill in, it's getting there, but there is a nice wave of green. It's just not where I want it. There's other places in here that have a very serious problem with acidity. So lime will be applied again to try to knock this down. Eventually, once I get this bacteria balanced out, I won't be needing any more of that lime. But it's getting there for sure. This is definitely a lot better. The big problem was in the past, when I first opened this ground up here, I was having to put out some serious amounts of fertilizer to the tune of roughly 500 pounds per acre up here in this little strip. This is not a 1 acre strip, but that was the rate I was broadcasting at, just to get this to show signs that it would grow even remotely close to what these other 2 sections down here were doing. But things are coming along up here, and all these plants are contributing to the next generation of spring and summer. So all this cereal rye will bolt in the spring, and it'll look like a jungle up here, and I'll till that down, make me a new straw mat, and the cycle begins again. And that is how I keep building soil. See, that up there looks really good. That's much better compared to last year. That right there is much better looking. There's plenty of places in here that's showing improvement with far less fertilizer than I've used in the past. This is great to see that. There's also, like in most of the other areas of the plot, there is a boron shortage up here, and it's more prevalent in this section than it is in section 2. So you're going to try to see how I've mapped this plot out. And this year, as long as weather cooperates, this right here should grow even better this spring and summer, and hopefully I can use half the fertilizer, or maybe not at all if I get lucky, and try to get this fixed. But I know lime will be applied, and as far as the nutrition factor, it is going up. I've got a radish right there that looks nice and healthy, and he should explode here. He'll probably get bit back. Then again, he could die. We got some cold weather on the way, so this could be his last stand, or he may survive it. We'll have to wait and see. But see how I get, and this is what section 1 has still got a problem with, is bald spots. It's really sparse. These plants are, you know, pretty weak looking to me, even though they're green. All you gotta do is step right down there, and you'll notice a huge difference between that with no fertilizer and this with some fertilizer. So I have got to continue to lime this, get the pH level right. So this is an additional expense that I expect to have happen. Out here we have section 4. This is its very first year of restoring, and it really shows it. A lot of weak plant growth up here on this upper end. There's actually some grasses growing in here I don't like seeing, because the fall blends just could not get established without that rain in time. And what has come up is not growing fast enough to suit me in most cases. And see, these turnips are a great example. A lot of people may think that's some good turnips, but I've had them triple this size without fertilizer. So this ground right here has a long way to go to meet my nutrition goals. And as this part of the soil gets better, my deer will continue to reflect even more improvements to their body and the look that the bucks present. But overall, this right here ain't too bad. Surprisingly, I have not really seen a lot of moss in here. That's kind of a good sign for now. I mean, that's not going to say it's going to show up here soon, but for now, there isn't hardly any moss in this section. And then we step back down into section 3, where the deer are just basically destroying everything, because the ground here is in much better shape and they are keeping all of that scalp down. All that greenery is being browsed. This corner has been destroyed for the greenery value now. It's just being mowed down. So deer know where nutrition is when they're seeking it. Over here, they're hitting this more and more now, but their primary goal has been this corner this year, and they have decimated it. And that will continue to happen, and eventually they're going to keep spreading out, and the greenery will continue to thicken up. That soybean is buying it time. In most cases, it has bought it time to get taller, get thicker, and then as the deer continue to destroy the soybean and expose the underneath, the green level will be ready for that browse, and the deer can keep packing on weight. And I don't have a down cycle, especially if my soybean was to run out and that's all I had. I've got a down cycle. I can't do nothing, and it may last a month, may last 2 months, or longer, depending on weather and what I want to plant. So I don't want that, and that's why I put the greenery underneath my soybean to keep the ground going. You can see lots of crimson clover here. Sorry about that. That will take off and grow like crazy in the spring. I've also got some rock picking to do here. A lot of good sized rocks I need to try to reduce. That will help this spring and summer. And this section here will eventually start doing what that down here has done. It's just going to take me some time to do so. But I hope you enjoy this. That's the main food plot. Deer are popping in this like crazy now. Activity is more than 100 times what it was during the drought. Deer left this place. It was hard to find deer on my cameras. Rain returned. All my species sprouted up, and then deer activity increased a little more, and now it is every night they are back here again. So it's just like it was before, and hopefully I can hold a young buck or two and show you his progression this year. If you like this content, hit that like and subscribe, guys. Try to bring you some valuable videos down the road. Have a great day.